Ansible roles, private Git repos, and Ansible Galaxy tools.
Thank you. So I'm Serena from Biodec, a company located near Bologna. And today I want to talk about Ansible Galaxy and how we do the things with this tool. We will cover some topics, starting from some theory on what is Ansible, what is Galaxy, a slightly advanced usage of this tool in terms of downloading roles from the Galaxy, and how we use this tool to create reusable, high-quality Ansible playbooks and roles. Also, how the Galaxy integrates with GitHub and Travis services. And in the end, how we do the things in Biodec. So, is there anyone using Ansible? Just to know? Okay. So, for some of you, it is not familiar. For some others, yes. Let's do this quickly. Ansible is a Python tool that helps system administrators and DevOps people to automate tasks on remote hosts. So when we want to provision hosts, when we want to deploy software and do other things, we use Ansible. It has been said that Ansible is a configuration management tool. Well, someone may disagree because configuration management tools like Puppet or Chef work in a different way. They work like pulling and pushing information between systems. They have agents to be installed on the remote hosts. Ansible doesn't, so it competes more with Bash, I would say. Anyways, it is a very simple tool that works with just Python and an SSH connection. You don't need anything to install on the remote systems. You just have to have some version of Python installed there, and you will be ready to work. It is better to clarify that Ansible instructions are written in YAML, which is a very simple markup language. YAML is the acronym for yet another markup language. It approaches plain English, and it helps the developers and the DevOps to document code while writing it. And Ansible code here, I will use the term code and roles as synonym. For code, I mean YAML directives. I don't mean the Python software that constitutes the Ansible project, okay? So why one should use Ansible? Because this person does at least one of these things. It has to work with networking, with user management, with infrastructure management. And you know that systems are becoming more and more virtual. This is the containers era, so we manage, as a system administrator and as developers as well, we manage clusters of infrastructure. And the infrastructure may be heterogeneous, so you can work against multiple operating systems, provision them at once. Maybe you are deploying software on these systems. Maybe you are upgrading them, applying security patches. You are doing activity that somehow is related with the DevOps world, okay? So I'm sure here at PyCon I don't have to explain what pip is. Anyway, it is the way to install Python packages from the official Python repository. So in a terminal, if you wanted to install Ansible, just type pip install Ansible and you will find the Ansible commands system-wide. It is better to work in a virtual environment every time that you install some Python package, and I think everyone here knows what virtual amps are. So it is better to install a specific version of Ansible because it is a very recent project and advances are being made during time. Ansible version 1 point something differs greatly from Ansible version 2 point something. So please keep your Ansible versions organized in a tidy way, let's say. And otherwise you find, maybe you will find yourself and your code to be terribly broken if you upgrade the Ansible version without taking care of it. When you install Ansible, you type Ansible in your terminal and you find a lot of commands related to this project. The most useful ones are Ansible Playbook, Ansible Galaxy, that we will talk about today. There is also Ansible Container now, which is quite recent. It helps us to work with containers, of course. And here you find also Ansible lint because this is my prompt, and I've installed Ansible lint as well. Ansible lint does not come with Ansible. It is a separate project that works like PyLint. I don't know if you are familiar with it. It performs a very accurate syntax check on your playbooks, and you can configure the rules for Ansible lint to check, like to set filters for the errors and the warnings that you want to gather when you run this syntax check. Okay, just a curiosity. So, what is Ansible Galaxy? The Galaxy is the official hub for sharing the roles. Okay? Roles here again are the YAML directives. So when someone wants to recycle roles that someone else has done previously, maybe better, it is always good to take a look at the Galaxy website. When you are dealing with Ansible Galaxy, you are both dealing with a web interface, let's say, and a command line tool. The command line tool can search for roles in the Galaxy Hub, so you don't have to go to the web interface, but it is nice to you know, get some quick information about roles also via the web interface, because it integrates very well with GitHub stars and watchers, so you can have a sort of evaluation of what you are downloading before doing it. But being a open source community, you can find a lot of things that go from excellent to broken to horribly dangerous. So please pay attention to what you are downloading before executing it on the remote hosts or on your local host. Okay? And also you can find many duplicates as well. Always order your result search for stars, downloads, watchers, and do some sort of filtering, community-based filtering when you are downloading things, or go to the official projects, like if you want a role for Apache, go for a username that is the Apache Foundation, okay, if it exists. Just to be more clear on what roles are. Roles are just a level of abstraction. They are not much more than include directives around YAML files. Okay? However, this is already a big thing because you can organize a lot of YAML files together. You can decide in which order they can be executed. You can source variables without, telling the full path of them, because Ansible roles source variables in the project. Okay, you cannot do these things with just plain playbooks. But why one should use the Ansible Galaxy when developing Ansible roles? Because it is always good to adhere to the best standards. We want to run and develop roles that are high quality code. So creating reusable roles is a strongly encouraged practice. And moreover, reusing roles that are already there in the Galaxy is even better. And it is very easy to use because, you know, it comes bundled with Ansible, you don't have to install anything else. And its main purpose is to be an interface to GitHub. It gathers roles from the GitHub repositories, and you find the stuff in the Galaxy website instead of the GitHub site. So Ansible Galaxy can do a lot of things. The mostly used commands will be install for sure to gather roles from the hub. The init command that we will go through deeply to start the roles from scratch, and some commands about deleting roles, and also the setup command is the one that we have to use when we want to authenticate ourselves with the Galaxy. Anyways, one can work always offline. We don't need to have an account on the Ansible Galaxy to work in adhering to the best standards. When you type install username.rolename, you are telling the command Ansible Galaxy to go to the galaxyansible.com website and to search for some namespace called username and some role called role name. This is the simplest way to interact with the Galaxy. But you can do more than that. You can install a lot of roles at once. You can install roles from a lot of sources, not necessarily GitHub. You can specify the roles path because maybe you are mounting directories shared with different teams. So you want roles to be here, there, and the standard roles path is /etc or in the directory where Ansible commands are run. And maybe you want to behave differently. So, Ansible understands the YAML directives. So if you want to download more roles at once, you write a YAML file containing a bunch of lines for which we have the source tag telling the Galaxy to gather the roles called user1.role1, user2role1, and so on. The Galaxy will go through the list and will download the roles that are written there, okay? It is very simple and it can be compared with the behavior of pip. If you tell pip to install multiple packages at once with a text file, you provide the pip command with this file through the -r flag. And you do the same with the Ansible Galaxy command. So we can compare the behavior of Ansible Galaxy and pip in this case. And actually they do pretty much the same thing. Pip goes to the Python package manager. Ansible goes to the Galaxy hub. But what if you don't like GitHub? Or what if you have your roles somewhere else? You can download the roles using Ansible Galaxy as well. You have to tell the Galaxy where these roles are. The standard place is the official hub. If you type the URL of your project in source and tell the version that you want to download, default is master, but you can specify other branches and tags. And name is just the name of the directory where the Galaxy will put the code that gathers from the URL. In this way, you download roles from another Git repository, GitHub in this case, but also from other Git SCMS, like GitLab. You can also download stuff from other web servers. So let's say that you have some Apache running, serving a directory where you have the archive of your project, and you want to download stuff from there. You write that URL, you say where you want this project to be downloaded in the directory HTTP role, and bam, Ansible Galaxy will go there. Of course, you have to set your credentials before running these commands. If you are working with GitLab, you work using SSH, so you set your SSH key to, to download stuff from the GitLab repository. And the same applies for GitHub as well. Specifying the roles path is easy as well, because Ansible Galaxy install has some subcommands apart from -r, which one of them is roles path. We specify the roles path where we want to download the roles by typing the path in the command line, or we can specify this information in other places, like the Ansible configuration file found in the directory where the Ansible commands are run, or we specify the information using environment variables. You see here that we can tell Ansible to do the same things in many ways. This is true also for other aspects of the Ansible project, like variables. Where do I put variables? In a lot of places, but there is a priority. So in this case, the human command always has the highest priority. So providing both roles path by command line and some roles path in the Ansible configuration file in the very same directory, they will not work at the same time. The human will take priority. Okay, so now we have seen some things about downloading and advanced downloading. The other very useful thing that we can do using Ansible Galaxy is to create roles. Ansible Galaxy comes with the init command that allows us to create a role from scratch, a role that is compliant with the Ansible suggested best practices and all the Ansible documentation. So you don't have to stress over say, like remembering, did I put all the directories, did I write all the YAML files, or did I write a README, and so on. The Ansible Galaxy command will take care of this for you. Use this command with the offline flag if you are working without an account on the Galaxy. Otherwise, the Ansible Galaxy command will try to look for your account in the Galaxy, and it will take a lot of time. If you want to do stuff in your working environment, just work offline and then think about sharing the roles. So this is the structure of the directory that Ansible 2.1.4.0 version creates with the init command, and this structure has varied through time. Starting from Ansible 2, we find some new things that I will say later. Anyways, you see that you have a bunch of directories where you can find YAML files. All these YAML files are empty but contain a header where the role name is written. You have a pretty good README with the role name written in it as well. Then you have directories of files and templates that do not contain YAML files, because these are special directories. They contain Jinja templates or scripts, more or less. And there is also a test directory, very useful because it encourages the person that develops the role to make tests. And we have also a Travis file. Why do we have a Travis file in an Ansible project? Because starting from Ansible 2, the integration between the Galaxy and the GitHub became more tight. So Travis is the natural continuous integration service for GitHub projects. And Ansible Galaxy looks for stuff in GitHub by default. So it encourages people to push code to GitHub and to use the Travis service to run the tests on the role. Okay, this is the reason. Before version 2, there were no test directory and no Travis file. So roles developed before version 2 will not have the very nice build, failed or passing flag in the interface, okay, because they lack the Travis integration. This is the Travis file that Ansible Galaxy puts in the project for you. The default environment for Travis is an Ubuntu machine, either if you are on a virtual machine or Docker container. So you don't have to specify the operating system at the beginning. It is, let's say, it is known. You have to say, Travis, please add the Python language to this environment. You add the Python pip using apt because you are in a Ubuntu machine. You install Ansible using pip, and you see that in this way, Ansible encourages the developers to use the latest version of Ansible, because pip will always download the latest one. It doesn't fix the version doesn't fix the version of the Ansible that we are using to develop the role, okay, which could be more consistent. Anyway, the job will perform a syntax check on the playbook, on using the playbook in the test directory. That's it. Okay, so the minimal setup for running a continuous integration test using the Ansible Galaxy and Travis is here. and is given to you by Ansible Galaxy. You don't have to do anything. You just have to push the role to GitHub. Okay, of course, the integration with the build status is triggered through an API call. So you have to provide Ansible Galaxy, set up a subcommand with the Travis authentication token for your account. Okay, so if you wanted to work this way, the Ansible way, you have to provide the tool with some information about your GitHub account, your Travis account, and so on. After that, everything is magic. But what if we don't like GitHub and Travis? We want to keep our roles in another Git SCM, like we do in Biodec. We like GitLab because we can host the GitLab services in a private system, and we don't want to share our code and client's code with the community, not everything at least. So we found GitLab to be a great alternative to GitHub because it has a bunch of services already integrated, like the continuous integration and continuous deployment pipelines. So we have come to like a different role structure for developing Ansible roles. We don't want a Travis.yaml file, we want a GitLab CI YAML file because we are pushing the code to GitLab. We want to fix the Ansible version. So we want a requirements file in the Ansible project. We want an Ansible configuration file there to declare the roles path because we don't have a test directory because there are no proper tests. We put the test YAML file along with the production YAML file. They are just run on different inventories. They're not separated in the test directory and the production directory, let's say. So this is the role template that we have come to like and that we use when we develop roles. You see the directories are pretty much the same. You still have the bunch of YAML files and so on. You lack the test directory, and you have a GitLab CI YAML file instead of a Travis file. This is this is how a GitLab CI YAML file is done, is written. We can compare this to Travis. They are very similar, but they are different. You have to specify the Docker image where you run the test. We always run tests we run tests in Docker or on Amazon Cloud. In this case, I wanted to keep things simple, and I reported the Docker style of doing the test. So we download from the Docker Hub the Python 2.7 image, which is based on Debian stable. Now is Jessie, will be stretched in a few months. We install Python pip like Travis did via apt. We install Ansible using a requirements file committed in the project. We don't install the latest Ansible version because changing Ansible version is a major change for us. So we don't want to break all our roles just because of the continuous integration tests. And we tell Ansible, using the Ansible playbook command, to run the test.yaml playbook directly on the Docker containers, connecting, using a Pythonic way to connect to localhost. Because SSH in Docker containers does not work properly. You have to tweak the container to run an SSH daemon, or you have to go for not official Docker images, so we have to use the connection local to run Ansible on localhost in this case. Okay. And this is how we do the things, but how do you keep an alternative role template up to date with the Ansible advancements? The easy way, well, let's start with what we did initially. Initially, I liked to fork the Ansible project and to change the template that is loaded with the init command, but this way is not very maintainable. You have to bring the Ansible upgrades to your fork, and I didn't like it a lot. You can create a Git project or other repository-based project and run git clone instead of Ansible Galaxy init, but in this way you have also to run scripts to update the headers in the YAML files and the README. So the best and more Ansible compliant way of using an alternative template is to use the role skeleton subcommand. You tell Ansible Galaxy to use a template that is found in some directory. In that directory, you have the Git project of your template. You tell Ansible to ignore the Git history and stuff like that of what is in that directory. And that's it. You run the Ansible Galaxy init command and you will find an alternative template of the role with all the benefits of running the Ansible Galaxy command. So it does, the boring stuff for you, like changing some strings in the files. So to conclude, we have seen that Ansible is very, very easy to start because YAML files are more or less plain English. So it is very easy to rush to develop a lot of playbook and using the shell module at the beginning, but you have to go to use Ansible Galaxy very soon, because otherwise you will find yourself surrounded by broken YAML files, not updatable code, not updatable roles, not recyclable roles. It has solved about the 80% of our problems in terms of provisioning and deploying stuff on remote systems. It is a very popular project that is constantly evolving, and it adds modules and modules to the project, let's say. So it keeps up with the containers and virtual machines way of building infrastructures. So it is very useful nowadays. And we have seen that using Ansible Galaxy is easy, and you can tweak this tool to do the things the way you like. You don't have necessarily to share your stuff and your client stuff with the community to publish the role. You can do it privately. Okay, and now I think we are un minuto. Just a few words around for DevOps, because Biodec is part of a company alliance, let's say. And we are Biodec, Kiratec, Xpeppers, and Ideato, some companies located in Italy. We have come to build an alliance to solve our DevOps problems and the problems of our clients. And the next appointments will be at the end of April in Verona and in May, both in Milano and in Chiasso, to talk about mainly Docker containers and the Amazon cloud. So thank you for your attention. Questions?
Thank you for the great talk.
Thank you.
How would you go about migrating a bunch of role playbooks to a role-based library?
What do you mean about role playbooks? You
You
always have playbooks.
Role playbooks, like just a bunch of playbooks.
A bunch of
Someone that
playbooks.
started the wrong way with Ansible.
Yeah, okay. So this person should have the will to start from scratch, I think. You cannot migrate really a bunch of horrible playbook to a high quality role. You have to start a role and you take the big playbook for starting, and you put this big playbook in the task directory of the role called main.yaml, and you write the main.yaml playbook to call this one. And at the beginning, so you run your huge playbook in the good directory structure. Okay, that's the first step. Then you start to break down the playbook in many files, and you start playing with the included directives. That's the way I did at the beginning when I started to use Ansible.
Okay, thank you very much.
Do you have any experience with Windows remote machines? I mean, to manage Windows
I
machines?
personally don't, but we have a client that has a lot of Windows machines, and first he looked for some Windows module in the Ansible library. Then he went for using another tool which is called Frontman, I think. A project called I will search the email because we exchanged opinions on that just in the past few days, and I will tell you there are a lot of possibility.
All right, and then the next question is how would you test
everything in the Windows for the Windows stuff?
Yes, exactly. Before actually deploying the roles to production.
Windows machines on Amazon.
All right. Okay. Yeah.